That's it. You
Oh,
got
wow.
it. All right. I know, it gets horrible, doesn't it? In the studio with us is Steve Davis. Joey's remote, and Patrick is here. Steve, let's start with you. Can you give us an introduction of who you are and why you're special and why you're my favorite?
Oh, look at
Yeah.
that. Steve Davis, Real Brokerage, Qamar Group. And you can reach me at 312-513-6314 or on Instagram, which is I'm Steve Davis.
Sounds good. Patrick, please.
My name is Patrick Loftus. I'm a real estate lawyer, Loftus Law. Follow me on social media. That will help boost my ego. Not that it needs it, but Loftus_law. Or that's on Instagram, or Loftus Law on TikTok.
And Joey, last but not least.
Why, hello. My name is Joey Mathews, NMLS 1330694. You can find me at the VALoanNerd.com. You can call or text me at 630-235-2405. Hit me on the socials. Slide into my DMs at the VA Loan Nerd.
All right,
And
buddy.
in the markets today.
Thank you.
There we go. No, so on Friday and Monday, we saw some crappy end of year trading because we actually had decent numbers come back from the consumer price expenditures, the PCE, personal consumer expenditures came back about as anticipated, but we saw a sell off in the markets, and the only thing that we can really chalk that up to is end of quarter, end of the first half of the year, end of month trading. All right. But today, we have seen improvements. We saw the initial jobless claims number along with the ADP employment change numbers come in worse than anticipated. So we have gained back most of what we have lost over the previous 2 days trading sessions. So that is, I won't say that's what I anticipated happening because I didn't anticipate seeing a sell-off for no reason. But in terms of a quick rebound, that would have been anticipated after an unnecessary sell-off. We do have Jay Powell speaking at 1 p.m. Central Time on Wednesday, July 3rd. So by the time that you're listening to this, if you are a radio listener, he will have already spoken. And I heard him. I'm sorry, he spoke a couple days ago. I'm an idiot. The minutes are getting released. The Fed meeting minutes are getting released from when they did their last no update to the rate. We're going to see what they talked about and when they anticipate making cuts. I would hope they talked about that, how many cuts they would anticipate making before the end of the year. I know there's a few Fed chairs that are pretty hawkish on making at least one cut, which would be good for the markets. But we'll see what happens when the meeting minutes get released. We are up 24 basis points on the day, and the 10-year Treasury is down 10 basis points.
All right, and remind me again, when the Treasury goes down, or the basis points move, whatever they do, how does that affect the mortgage rates and basically real estate?
As 10-year Treasury yields move down, mortgage rates move down with it. Okay. As mortgage-backed securities move up, rates move down. So there's an inverse relationship on that.
So at the beginning of the week, Monday, our phone was ringing off the hook, and we ended up booking up the entire week, and then into next week by the end of Monday. And it was probably one of the busiest phone days we've ever had. And that usually I find happens when the mortgage rates start on their climbing upwards. It's like I call it the fear of missing out, because somebody wants to get the house before the rates go up. Is that correlate to what you're saying? Because these things are way over my head.
Based on what happened on Friday, I would say a Monday reaction would be expected if that is how your business usually tracks.
Nice.
So I know on my end, I've seen more contracts, I've seen more pre-approvals in the last few days. So yeah, I would say we're tracking. I think there's a lot less fear over rate at this point, and people are just like, I need a freaking house.
Do you see that too, Steve?
I do. People are finally just realizing, the rates are what they are, and either we're going to wait or we're going to go ahead and jump on board and just refinance. I think at this point, my conversation with people has been as such. Listen, you can go ahead and buy now and understand you can refinance later. You can wait if you want to try, but what's going to happen is the same thing as we've been saying for, 6 months, a year, which is the rates will go down. They will. And there will be no inventory, maybe the same, maybe a little bit more, maybe a little less. And then more importantly is every buyer that is on the fence right now waiting for that just to go down a half a point. And God, man, if it's a point, you will have a serious amount of buyers out there.
Well,
and
you're
there's
also going to have
bidding
buyers.
frenzy
You're going to
ever.
have
So much
increase
worse.
in cost.
What's
So
that?
The house prices are going to go up.
Yeah, they're going to go up too. So there's no like, there's no gold at the end of the rainbow here. It is all the same that it's been, which is it's just going to be it's going to get worse. And the people that are waiting right now, respectfully, I understand. However, everything we're advising you of is not because we're looking for. We're just trying to give you the best advice possible. And the people that are listening and deciding to wait, that's fine. The people that are jumping in now, they're going to get what they're getting. So it's one of those situations. I just had a client over the weekend, and she had taken a little bit of time, to figure things out and so on. And when she was ready to go, she was ready to go. But and now that we're working together, she saw properties and. We saw them on Saturday, and I said, if you like this property, you might want to jump on it quickly. It's up to you. I'm not going to rush you. I never would, but the market will. And she's like, okay. And on Monday morning, she called me, and she's like, that property's already gone. Like, yeah. And then she's like, can we go after it? And I'm like, yeah, we can. You might be a backup offer, though. I don't know. I'll have to talk to the agent. Sure enough, talk to the agent. His clients are, felt like the other people that are offered, even though our offer is higher, they're like, well, we respect the fact that they really wanted this property perhaps more than the other buyer because the other buyer didn't get in when they were supposed to. So it kind of goes down like that.
I think that's ethical.
Yeah,
it's
it's also ethical. Yeah, exactly. I told her, I said, listen, this is not what we normally do. You can try, and you technically not, it's not the best way of doing things, but she was like, well, I'll try and I'll just get more money. And I'm like, all right. But I figured what happened. It should have happened, and it did happen. And, I respect the agent and the sellers for that as well. And my client learned a lesson, perhaps, just knowing the fact that she needed to move a little faster on something. But again.
The biggest thing, though, is you can change things after you buy the house. All right. And what I mean by that is, you can't refinance a house if you don't have a house to refinance. You can't change the taxes if for some reason they're really high up. And I know, Patrick, that's a big thing you're working on right now. Mm-hmm. But if you don't have the house, you can't appeal the taxes where it comes with it. And I don't know, if you don't mind, just give me a quick rundown on that, Pat. I know that the Southwest Burbs, is it?
Yeah, so there's a couple things happening right now in the world of property taxes. And Joey, if I forget, I need you to remind me to ask you a question about something I saw yesterday before we get out of here today, before we end the show. So real estate taxes, and this applies across Illinois, but I've been speaking a lot about it specifically as it pertains to Cook County. So a couple things have happened recently in Cook County that have, if it hasn't already gotten homeowners' attention, it certainly is about to. So if you live in the south part of the suburbs, so anything I think south of Madison Street but outside of the city limits, you just received your 2023 second installment tax bill, which is based on the increase, I'm assuming, but it's a fair assumption, based on the adjusted assessed valuation of your property for 2023. Adjustments happen every 3 years, and they rotate. Northern burbs, City of Chicago, Southern burbs. I don't know if I got that order correct or not, but on average, I forget what the number was, but it was a fairly decently high average number. Like on average, people saw like 20+% increases in the real estate tax bills, and a lot of parts of the the south suburbs, as I'm characterizing it, they were already taxed to the gills to start with, and so it's just getting worse for those folks, and I feel for them. One thing you can do to try to mitigate that issue is you can appeal the assessed valuation of your property. Now, there's some deadlines as to when you can do that, but the best advice I can give you is reach out to me so that we can at least get the ball rolling on that. If you are in the city of Chicago, your assessed valuation is going to adjust for 2024. So the taxes that are coming due next year, you're going to see that very most likely uncomfortable increase for the tax bill that comes out next year. The best time to deal with that is this year. And for the most part, unless you are in Rogers Park, and when I say Rogers Park, I don't mean the neighborhood, I mean the township, all right? And I'm not going to get into the nitty gritty of what that means. Or West Chicago, same thing, the West Chicago goes all the way down to the river in some places, the South Branch. Everyone else is either about to get their reassessed valuation, or they will between now and the end of the year. When you get that postcard, because it comes in a postcard, you need to reach out to me, because that's the time, that's the prime time when someone like me can help you if you don't want to avoid, if you want to avoid having a bad time next year when the second installment bill comes out, which I expect it to be at the end of June, which is back on regular schedule. I was very pleasantly surprised to see that happen last week.
Is there a window?
It's 30 days from when that reassessment is published. Now, in Cook County, so that's a fairly, you can kind of take that one to the bank outside of Cook County. In Cook County, it's Cook County. There's always different rules entirely. The sooner the better is what I would say with Cook County. Reach out, and I'll make sure that we get the ball rolling on that, because the sooner the better.
And then the same thing, I guess, with refinancing, right, Joey? I mean, you can take advantage when the numbers go down, but that's only if you're in the game. If you're not in the game, then the rates might go down, but the prices go up, and it just doesn't make sense to me. So, anyway.
Well, absolutely, and it's a big reason why a lot of investors are still buying right now, because even though rates are up, they also see the inventory problem. So they understand that in the future there's going to be appreciation. And they also understand that rates fluctuate. So they still get all the appreciation, and down the road, if they have the chance to refinance, they will. And they're just going to increase cash flow.
Joey, I saw something interesting yesterday. I want to get to this because it's going to burn a hole in my brain until I get to ask Joey about this. So there's really two things interesting I saw yesterday. One was something I heard, and that was one of my clients saying that come January 1, 2025, the bottom is going to absolutely drop out of the mortgage market. On the scale of 1 to crackpot, which end of the scale do you think that one's at is question one? And then I have a follow-up.
I would love to see the data behind that, because I don't see how that is a thing. What's happening January 1? Is this a 2012 prediction? Like, is it going to be a movie?
I think so.
It's Y2K. Remember all that stuff?
Well,
my computer won't work anymore.
Yeah, it was one of those. We unfortunately, because I wanted to probe her more on it just to find out like what kind of nonsense it was, but the closing ended sooner than I was able to kind of circle back to that subject, because otherwise we would have got derailed and it would have taken an extra hour for the closing, because I would have been like, what are you talking about, lady? And she would have started a fight with me, and I would have been accused of picking a fight with her, and both things can be true at the same time. But so setting that aside, I saw something interesting, and I won't name the company that did this, but the rate at the closing table was 6.99. And what they had was a buy down, where I guess if they make all of the next 12 months of payments, their interest rate reduces to 5.99. Is that something that you have any familiarity with? Number one. Number two is what's that all about?
I have never seen that. I don't know what the only thing I've ever seen is the temp buy downs, but that starts at the lower rate, and then the following year it adjusts a point higher. And all that is an interest subsidy that's paid by the seller or the builder. So that does not compute.
Interesting. All right. Well, we'll have to take that part of the conversation offline so that we can kind of.
I need to see it. Yeah.
Explore it some more. But it was. I guess just to close the loop on that, I found it interesting that husband who shopped for the loan was very keen on making sure that this buy down was part of the loan. Even though wife seems to think that rates are going to like shoot down to zero at the beginning of next year, because those two things are at odds with each other, aren't they?
Man, they are. I know who they're voting for, and that's not something that's going to happen.
Well, anyways, all right.
That's not how the economy works.
That's all I had to say. I wanted to
Zero. Wow. I should refinance.
I wanted
I'm
to
at a
pick my
2.3 right now. I should refinance to zero. It might make more sense.
I'm sure it would.
January 1. You'll talk
January
to the VA
1.
loan
All right.
nerd.
Unbelievable.
I'll have to wait till
Oh,
January
gosh.
1.
So I'm gonna.
I think they're probably looking for January 21, but that's okay.
Or January 6th.
Oh my goodness! Now
Oh.
we're digging deep. Let's get back on the
I was
real estate
waiting.
here.
I was waiting for that.
Yeah.
I got my stars and stripes
There
shirts
it
on
is,
today.
America.
So.
You go.
America.
So let's get back on to real estate a little bit. And for those that recognize Steve's voice and his name a few times, he comes on pretty much every month with us. And we value him, all right? I think this is probably one of the most ethical real estate agents that we deal with. The things I don't like about him is he works way too hard. And that's not a criticism to you, all right? I think you really go overboard for all your clients, and I hear a lot of compliments every time we do business together from the clients where they just trust you so much, all right?
Was working real hard on the golf course yesterday.
but going back to, part of what you guys are doing now, and I want to hear more about this boot camp, and I like to go into more specifics on, what does it take to succeed in this world? And I think everybody knows that I think that, too many real estate agents, too many home inspectors, it's just way too easy to get a license. And they do crap work most of the time, and then they harm families when they're buying homes. And then in the wake, where all the people that take this profession seriously, they're left with the reputation of home inspectors are buffoons, real estate agents are buffoons. And I don't want to do everything I can to change it. So, and I value that you're doing the same thing on the real estate end. But I want to hear more about this boot camp. You're willing to give us a crash course?
Yeah, absolutely. And first of all, thank you very much for saying all those wonderful things. The deal is that it's not about sugarcoating it, and it's not about just
It's education
playing the part.
and knowledge. Let people make their own
Right.
decisions.
It's not about just playing the part. It's about doing your job and doing it well. And I would like to say that I do that very diligently and make sure that on purpose, right? Loving what you do, and not feeling like you work. That's kind of how we always said it, right? If you do what you love, then you don't really ever feel like you're working.
Yeah.
Yes and no on that, obviously, depending on what you do for a living. But at the same time, Patrick pointed out that I was, working hard on the golf course yesterday. Well, here's the thing.
You're entitled
I work
to
my
time
butt off, and I like to do things sometimes where I can relax. And more importantly is that's actually kind of a fun networking opportunity as well, and just getting out there with clients, friends, people, perspectives, different vendors, things like that. I think Patrick's just jealous he doesn't golf, because we could go golfing and it would be fun. But
Well,
anyway,
Steve, to be fair to you,
sure.
And that's makes my skin crawl
It's just a
to
windmill.
be fair
That's
to
the
him.
thing that gets me in the way. That when that windmill blocks the ball from going into the hole.
the windmill. We're not talking about miniature
there we
golf.
go.
Yeah,
Oh,
yeah, that's what
Wow,
it's
here we
saying.
go.
Oh.
Golf is how I built my business. I'm just going to mention that.
Yeah, no,
Is that right?
But
So you're a golfer?
Yeah.
Oh, well, you're in
I suck at
Arizona. That
golf,
would make
but
sense.
I play, but I used to set up on par threes at all the firefighter state golf outings, and that's how I built my business in the firefighter network in Illinois.
Oh, that's fantastic.
And, yeah, so I loved it.
So, God, and I don't want to be fair to Steve, because it's not fair to me to be fair to Steve. But
No, you must pick on him.
yeah, no, but for real, the real estate brokerage,
Haters are going to hate. Go ahead, bud.
being a real estate broker, they don't keep the same hours that lawyers do. So I mean,
Or me.
you guys
Yeah.
are working, Saturdays and Sundays, and Tuesdays probably your day off. You're, just this side of the service industry when it comes to what your work week looks like. So, All right, I'm done being fair to you. You go. You talk.
Oh, okay.
No, but seriously, that's where I just got a text from a real estate agent the other day. Can you do? I think it was in Elburn. Can you do a home inspection at 6:00 in Elburn on Thursday? I'm like, Thursday? That's the 4th of July. Well, I need someone on that day. That's the only time we're available. I'm like, okay. No, it's the bottom line. And it's almost like I punched him in the face, like, how dare you not do what I ask?
Not only is it Independence
had
Day,
clients-
but it's also UK Election Day. So you have a double reason not to work on that day.
UK Election
I don't
Day?
even know how to
The
respond.
United
I don't
Kingdom,
either.
it's a country.
Oh, thanks.
country.
Stop
Wow.
being such a globalist, PJ.
I'm sorry, I pay attention.
So, Steve, you were going to say something before I sidetracked.
Oh, no worries. Yeah, so
I think it was golf.
it was, yeah. So next time you're up here, by the way, Joey, I'm not
We
great,
got-
but
we
I
got
like to
the-
play.
We got
So-
the two ADHD kings here
All right,
distracting each
well,
other.
and you're still talking, so you're going to distract me more, but, whatever. It's your show. So as far as how it works is my team, the Qamar Group, we do a boot camp every month. And what that is basically a boot camp to real estate. It gives you the opportunity as a new agent or even as an agent that's been in the field for a little bit but could use a refresher course, or a long-time agent that just could use a refresher course. We do something so that we provide a value that will allow a newer or a seasoned agent to understand techniques and how to work the system, if you will, so that you can build your business faster and scale and so on. So what it is certain agents that are that do very well in a certain way. So whether it's there's a few different things we do as far as to provide a value and an education to these agents or prospective agents. So it's top producers such as myself that give a value to the agent and show them how they could run their business and how they be successful about a certain topic. So my topic happens to be sphere of influence. It's called SOI. And don't want to go into too much detail about these because there's a few different ones, but the SOI is the sphere of influence. So I teach people basically how to use their sphere in order to build their business, in order to bring value to those prospective clients or clients, making sure that they follow up. So not just before, not just during, but after the transaction, or even just building business or building the opportunities, networking, figuring out how to be part of the community, how to get to know people, how to do things that bring value to other people in that aspect. There's also where we are finding your why as a real estate agent. What that basically means is, why do you want to do real estate? Why do you want to get into this? What's important to you? What is your why? My why is my family, my dogs, which are my children. It's because I love to make differences in people's lives. I help them with an American dream. This all may sound cliche, but it's basically what is your reason for becoming an agent? Why do you want to do what you do? What makes you happy? What provides value to yourself? What is exciting to you? And then it's how to build business in the fact of cold calling. So whether it's FSBOs, which is a for sale by owner for those that you don't know it, or a canceled listing, people that have used agents and it didn't work out, the time frame kicked out, whatever it was. And in this type of market, if you're getting canceled on and it's due to the fact of your contract running out, it's important for agents to understand, okay, how do I handle the objections that perhaps a seller is going to give? Oh, well, I used this agent, but that agent wasn't any good. Or I use this agent, but I just don't like agents. I just don't think you do your job well. Or, hey, so it's all about how to handle those objections when you're talking to canceled or expired. So ones that, like I said, their term is, the contract has already ran out. But after 30 days, 60 days, 90 days, however long, if you're not selling their property, there's a reason. It's either price or it's because of the marketing. Now with Qamar Group, we do extremely good marketing. We have our own in-house media person, the team, company that takes care of everything. So if the marketing isn't good, it's not marketing. It's something else. And then it's price. And then so we teach the agents these things, right? And it's just helping them being educated, being able to educate their clients, so on. Then it's, understanding systems and tools of how to get leads in the fact of, let's say it's a lead generation aspect as well. So we teach them about those things. There's tons of different lead generations out there, besides Zillow, besides Realtor.com, besides, so it's the perspective of giving those aspects. Then what is great about the boot camp too, and there's a few more, but is that we bring vendors in, such as, lenders, attorneys, home inspectors, you name it. And they come in and they'll bring us lunch or whatever, the agent's lunch, and they'll introduce themselves, give a quick little, hey, this is who I am, and this is what my company's about, and this is why you should use us type thing. And it allows us to help them as well. And then they're, basically bringing value to those agents. And those agents are either newer, or maybe they are looking for a new attorney, or looking for a new inspector, or looking for a new painter. So it allows people to just kind of gather information, has some education, be able to do something where it's going to allow them to build business faster. That's like the gist of it. It goes into more detail. So sorry
I do
about that.
on a couple of things, but beforehand, is that open up to everybody, or is that only people in Real is the name of the brokerage?
So from my understanding right now, because we are slowly not just taking care of the agents that are jumping on our team or we're attracting onto our team, but we're actually through my brokerage. Our new brokerage is a cloud-based company brokerage, which is called Real. There's a lot of new agents and so on. So I think we're doing a lot. I think we're doing a lot for those agents as well that are even in Real itself in Illinois, which is basically two places. It's Naperville and our office. There are no technical offices. It's a cloud-based aspect. So those agents that are newer and so on, they can come to our boot camp, from my understanding. But we're still, figuring out how to provide that value and how to make sure that we're doing a great job for everyone who's involved. Agents coming into the business right now are going to have a different type of understanding, as well as a different. They're going to be different, experiencing a different market as well. So it's crucial that when they do get into the business, they really go through this boot camp, because it's going to give them a leg up versus other agents out there that don't have the training. The other thing with Real is that they have constant trainings on video. You can talk to constant people that are top producers and that are going to be able to provide value to them as well. So the great thing about Qamar Group, the great thing about Real, is that you're constantly being educated and can go back to anything at any given time. So like back to the basics, if you will, which will allow you to be able to do, to be great at what you do.
And good education builds confidence. Confidence builds motivation. Motivation creates success. It's kind of like a domino falling thing. Steve, if somebody has more questions about this or wants to join your firm, how do they get hold of you, please?
Absolutely. So you can email me. It's steve at qamargroup.com. You can call me 312-513-6314. You can find me on Instagram at I'm Steve Davis. And I would love to be able to obviously help assist any kind of questions you have. So our team is fantastic. We provide all the value and then some.
Sounds good. My name is Charlie Bellefontaine. I own Chicagoland Home Inspectors. Our website is www.thehomeinspectors. That's plural. That's an ORS. And it's a .com. We also own Home Inspection University. If you're looking to come into the home inspection business, we have a pretty popular training program, and we try to keep everything as affordable as possible. If you're listening and you're part of a multifamily board or you have State Farm insurance, I know there's a big push where they're asking for home inspections to be done for State Farm properties. We do have one simple flat rate for every house and every building when we go ahead and make a compliance report for them. And I'd love to be part of that. Please reach out to us at 312-544-9180. Again, that's 312-544-9180. Press option 3, and that'll bring you to me. Joey, can you give us your contact, please?
Why, I certainly can. Joey Mathews, the VA Loan Nerd. You can find me at the VALoanNerd.com. You can find me across all the social medias as at the VA Loan Nerd. You can call or text me at 630-235-2405.
Thank you. And Patrick, I kept you last because I want to ask a question after you give your information. So please, yeah, I know. So please give us your contact info.
My name is Patrick Loftus. I am a real estate lawyer. What that means is if you're buying or selling your real estate, you would hire me to make sure that things go smoothly, at least on our side. Call me. Don't call me. Jeez, I didn't get any sleep last night, so that's why I'm a little bit. Find me on social media. Follow me. I do a lot of stuff there. On Instagram, I'm at Loftus_law. On TikTok, I'm at Loftus Law.
Sounds good. And I know that you and I have the same kind of mindset when it comes to clients. And for me, it's more about I want people to choose us because of our reputation. I don't want to play the numbers game. I don't want to say that, I'll throw 6 gallons of spaghetti at the wall and those that stick work in there. So
That's a lot of gallons.
That's a lot of gallons. You're right. I'm a slightly exaggerator. I don't know if you figured it out yet or not. But Patrick, how does that work for you? I mean, how do you convey to whether it be a real estate agent or a potential seller, buyer, whoever you end up working with in your sphere, how do you let them know that you're the go-to guy?
It depends, which is the very lawyerly answer that I have a tendency of giving. With real estate brokers, it's not a hard sell at all. It's let's get to know each other, and let's get to know each other for a while.
And like each other and trust each other.
Well, I mean, those...
You can't have a good relationship without trust.
Well, you may never get there. You may just end up knowing the person, or you may end up knowing and liking them, but you're like, and that's fine. I'm just glad to know them, and even maybe like them. But the good news for me is I'm not working off of like high volume. I don't need a high volume in order to. I don't want a high volume. I get to a point where I am overstretched, and then the quality goes down because there's only so much of me and my time that I have available to give.
And that is important because you are the only attorney that you work with.
Right. And honestly, I don't have any short-term goals of growing that particular aspect of my business. My business is me. And I practice law because that's what I decided I want to be doing every day for some reason. But so with real estate brokers, it's let's just get to know each other. That's it. That's it.
I like that.
And you should golf.
You should golf. I was going to use what
just saying.
Segue right back to you.
It's easy to introduce you to people, that's for sure.
Maybe I got to go get my golf clubs back from my kid. I ended up right now they're down in Memphis, Tennessee, and but maybe I'll come and join you.
This is a beautiful thing. There's actually stores up here. I believe it's not too far from the PGA.
I think I'm a little cheap though. I don't want to buy new clubs right now. I'm not going to lie about it.
I mean, look, you
got it. You can rent clubs at the course. Got it. Nailed it.
No,
Boom.
Not even. Not even.
You can rent clubs at the
way.
course. He said, yes, absolutely, 100%.
There's this place called Goodwill.
Yeah.
They sell. They've usually got like some kind of
played against sports. I think it would probably be a better one for Charlie.
Goodwill. There's a the fifth branch of the army, the Salvation Army, or maybe the sixth. I don't know. There's some
It's
army.
the space for
Got him.
I don't know.
it's the sixth one.
I don't know how many there are anymore. This is Coast Guard too. I mean, come on, don't.
All I'm saying is it's a great way to network.
So yeah, I mean, there's lots of different ways to skin that. I'll let you. Are you shoot righty or lefty?
I shoot righty. I write lefty. I cut righty. I'm like whatever it's called. I'm
You're
screwed up in
ambidextrous.
the
And
head.
by something.
I mean,
Ambidextrous.
Oh, boy, am I. Yeah,
Please
like
keep
there's
this
no tomorrow.
PG.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, we may not use the same length clubs, but you can borrow mine if you
I
want.
could bend over. That's real
Oh, boy.
quick and easy
Mr.
too.
Amby.
Quick and easy.
You know?
It's getting better.
No, I mean get lower.
Joey,
so
you
want
wanna
to
jump in?
The club
Oh,
reaches the ball.
I'm muting on purpose right now.
Unbelievable. You guys all have dirty minds.
I don't know what
I
you're
want to
talking
get
about.
back to the sphere of influence, though,
Sure.
please. So when you're coaching these agents, is the goal to, like, I guess it's called branding. Is the goal to keep your name in front of a group of people constantly, so when they do need or want your service, that it's there, or is your goal to build that trust of knowledge and educator, and or both?
Both.
What percentage of each?
It's not really a percentage of each. It's both. I mean, you want to educate. You want to keep. You obviously want them. So there's a book called Raving Fans. I'm sure some of us have heard of it, and sure they've read it. It's 107 pages, and I can read one. So everyone else can read it as well. It even has big words. So
I like big
for
words.
special people like myself. So and Charlie evidently. So this book allows you so that when you're reading it, you're reading 3 different stories, and those stories are about how this particular character in the book would create raving fans. And what I mean by that is when somebody uses you, Charlie, as a home inspector, and you do the specifics that you do versus other home inspectors do or don't do, they only think of one person when someone like Patrick was at a party with his wife and hanging out and so on, and someone's like, "Oh, I need a home inspector," and you obviously Patrick had an amazing experience with you as the home inspector when you took care of his house, and he will automatically tell me as the buyer and say, "You have to use Charlie Bellefontaine in his business. They are exceptional." That is called a
That
raving
gets
fan.
forgotten.
What's it? No, it doesn't. No, it doesn't. The reason being,
You don't think so?
no. Here's why. I'm glad you brought that up.
Yeah.
Here's why. You are a follow-up person. You deal with them before the transaction, during the transaction, and after the transaction.
Are you talking about me or are you talking about you?
I'm talking about in general in business.
Okay.
If you always want them to remember one person, your name, your business, your company, right? But primarily you, because you are the person, then it's always it's always you following up. It's always you making sure that you're creating value. It's always you making sure you're keeping touch and bringing value to that client.
This might be a mistake I'm making then, because now I'm thinking all you got me doing is focusing on Patrick right now. And he works so hard on, no, I'm serious. He works really hard on his social media. He works really hard creating these consistent TikTok videos, Instagram, Facebook, and they're good. All right, you share a lot of stuff.
It's just
And
one video on each, and I
on-
share them across all of the platforms.
Either way, but I see them constantly, and it works for that stuff. And maybe that's where I'm making a mistake, is I don't really ask our clients to, follow us on any of those social medias. I mean, what a great way to keep in contact with somebody, and then still show some education and value that they can get use out of this. I mean, you're kind of a pro at it. I'm not trying to smoke up here, but that's good shit.
And
yeah, he marked it, so we'll get rid of that. That's good stuff.
At least it wasn't me this week. All right, so the thing is, what you just brought up, which is the social media aspect for Patrick, that's how he gets across. If people know who he is, he puts those stories out there. It's fantastic, right? What I do is I'm follow-up, so I'm constantly bringing value of different ways. So I'm providing resources. I'm making sure I stay.
What kind of resources? What do you mean by that?
Sure. Well, for instance, if you need an attorney, you need a home inspector, you need a painter, you need a plumber, you need
during the transaction.
No. This is after too.
Really?
So in other words, you're calling them up, you're having a conversation with them after you have closed with them, or they've rented a property, or they've just bought a new one, or whatever it is. And you say, "Hey, how's everything going?" You have a conversation with them. You say, "Hey, by the way, do you need anyone? I have any, do you need a guy?" Right? So I got a guy. I can do any of that, whatever. So you're constantly trying to bring and stay in front of them. So, thing with you, Charlie, is that you dabble in different ways of people knowing who you are. Your reviews are spectacular. Never seen reviews like yours, and I've
That's
never
why
seen
people hire us.
and I've never seen as many stars and so on. But the point is, and in that many, but also the fact is, like, you could do so much more on the social media aspect. You could
I'm
do
weak. I'm not gonna lie.
no. But we have people for that, right? I also have someone who actually can tell you what to post and what not to post. We have a guy who can do all your social media, and then you also can post different things that you wouldn't know to post. That's something that I've been getting involved in, and I'll explain that to you later. But so there's different ways of making sure you stay in front of someone. I can't tell you how many times I've gone out to a get-together party, whatever it is, block party. And someone goes, and they've been living in their house for 5 years. And I say, oh, great. Well, who's your realtor? And they're like, I think they were with, right? They don't even remember.
Same with the home
80
inspector. Same with the mortgage broker, I'm sure, too.
80% of people I talk to after a year can't remember their agent.
I believe it.
That's incredible.
When I it's funny you say that, because whenever I do the information sessions for new home inspectors, I always ask whoever had a home inspection before in this group. And, a lot of people would raise their hand, because most people do. How many people were happy with the home inspector that they hired? Okay, cut it in half, maybe.
I highly doubt it's 50%.
It wasn't. It was less than that. And then I would
20,
call on each one of those
maybe.
people, and I would say, what was the name of the company or the person's name? And they couldn't tell me that. And Joey, I know you're sitting politely and on everything else, but, I mean, what do you do with your follow-up? You and I are kind of in the same boat, too.
So I'm just a weird dude. I randomly think about people. I text them. I call them. I always send gifts. I do have anniversaries set on my phone. Or in my calendar, I should say. It notifies me on my phone.
He sits at par 3 holes at golf courses.
That's more of
I
a
do
branding
that.
thing. That's
The
not
fire
a...
department, that's branding for sure.
Yeah,
But no,
that's
follow up.
more
It's the
branding.
same thing. It's the same thing Steve's talking about, because people do reach out to me for, hey, who do you got for this? Who do you got for that? Because you're a firefighter. Who's your guy? Who's your guy? Like, that's what it becomes. So if they trusted you for the biggest purchase in their life, they're going to trust you to help them repair or paint or whatever the biggest purchase that they made, right? So very, very similar to the realtor side follow up
And the other thing is,
I need to work on that.
and rate watching.
and jumping off, segueing from what Joey was saying was, I had I had a client who I helped buy the house, and they came to me and they said, all right, you seem to know everything. And I talked to my wife, and she said, reach out to Steve. He probably knows a guy. He asked me for sports memorabilia. Like, what does that have to, I have no, like, how would you think I would have a connection? I actually did. And the point is that if you've got a guy, then you get a guy. And it's good to know a person like that knows a ton, because they can provide some sort of resource, some sort of value. And here's the thing. When I call Joey up and I'm like, hey, Joey, what's, I don't know, something that Joey would know. But like.
VA stuff.
oh, yeah, VA stuff. That's good. Hey, Joey.
Joey's got a truck for that guy.
That was terrible. I'm sorry, Joey. So you bought that Tesla. What do you think of the car? Oh, okay. It's Okay, great. So what do you think about, so he tells me all about this car, because I'm very interested in this car, right? And then I know all these things, and then I'm like, I go to a party 3 days later, and someone's talking about VA, and I'm like, oh, dude, I got the best guy. And he bought a cool car, right? I mean,
No, he didn't.
I didn't say,
Yeah,
this is a story.
It's a
You're
hypothetical.
pumping people up, man.
It's a
Hey,
hypothetical.
calm down with your letting the air out of the tires.
I'm trying here, Joey, but he likes to
I love
interrupt
it.
me to mess with me. So the point is, I almost lost it. The point is that it's always staying in front of someone and always thinking about that person.
How often do you think you should contact past clients?
So what's messed up about, or not messed up, but the reality of this, and I know Joey knows this, but every 21 days, you forget about that person. Every
Wait,
21
say
days.
that again. You forget about them?
They forget about you, period. After
You're irrelevant.
the average of 21 days, which is insane, because it's like, well, What are you supposed to do? Bother them every 21 days? No. So you have to have systems. Systems is how you stay relevant, how you stay on top of things, how you make sure you do your job, not just do your job, but you're exceptional at it. And I think all of us, I'm just going to speak for myself. Let's just go with the realtors. I think all of us realtors, especially the ones that are actually any good at this, and I say that because there are a lot out there that should not be realtors, just like any other profession, are the ones that have systems put in place. So therefore, they're always staying on top of their clients, making sure that they get what they need, making sure that you're always on top of mind for them, and so on. And I'll tell you, it's extremely hard to make sure that you constantly do that because things happen in life. So for myself, I'm now looking at my systems again, making sure that I'm doing what I need to do, calling the people, connecting with the people that I've already worked with the last 5-10 years ago. I just got a call from someone who I worked with 9 years ago. 9. Like almost the beginning of my career. And they're like, hey, you helped us sell our house and we're moving back to Chicago. Can you help us out? I'm like, wow. Like, how great is that? So
you made an impression.
Right. And that's the thing. Like, that's what you want to be able to do. And not everyone can do it. And I'm not saying I'm special, but I will tell you, when I did get that call, I felt pretty damn special. Because I realized
special.
that I did, very special. But I also, Patrick's just shaking his head and closing his eyes.
You guys are doing all the work for me. I think the grown-ups, the real business people out there, and I'm accepting myself from that cohort. This is what they call like CRM, right? They
Tech relation management, their software like.
Yeah. So I mean, for people who for whom it's not intuitive, like for Joey and for Steve, these are things that just make sense to them. For me, I'm just like, I'm not calling that person. No way. But if a piece of software tells me to do it, apparently, I'm more likely to do it. But
you of all people should do that.
No, I'm busy working.
Evidently, you're busy enough where you don't have to build your business more.
Well, every one of my
Joey, would you agree with that?
Every one of my referral partners would be like, "Hey, I need this question answered immediately." That's always when people need their questions answered when it comes to having a question for me. And I'd be like, "Yeah, no, sorry, I'm working my CRM right now." They'd be like, "CRM you later." Hey,
wow.
But it's one of those things where it's not there's so many different ways to slice this apple or to skin the cat, whatever metaphor you want. And being really good at follow up, that's a really good way of going about it. Being someone who Charlie, you excel at getting those leads funneled toward your business. You know exactly how to get leads, and you know how to close those leads, and that's your superpower. That's what makes your business a powerful business. For me, I don't know. I post things on social media. I don't know if that's what makes me special, but there are a lot of ways to go about that, and if there's something you want to incorporate more into your business in terms of how you promote it, if you're not comfortable doing it yourself, there's loads of people out there that are happy to take your money for it. Just be a careful consumer when it comes to that.
Everything for me was always provide more value. When somebody asked me, why should I hire you? And Steve, you shared this with me. What makes you different, against all the other real estate agents, right? And I get the same question, why me? Why our company? And if I don't have that list ready to go that I could send to people and have it written down so I know what it is, it fails. So one of the things that I've been doing recently is trying to encourage my clients to, hopefully they trust me enough. After I talked to them in the beginning, we did the inspection, we did the Zoom call follow-up, we help them with prices and everything else on what's going on, make sure that they clearly understand the issues. And then when something goes wrong and they have to hire a professional or maybe an unprofessional and somebody tries to sell them something that they don't really need, I want them to have enough trust to call me and verify it and go over those proposals with me, and I don't trust. That, I think, is something that I could, hey, just a reminder, we're doing this, and if you're doing any projects, like you mentioned, we got a network. And then if you do want to go over any proposals or anything else, please let me help. I don't know. Pat? Stupid?
Don't
Smart?
ask me. I haven't hired a home inspector in 15 years. I have no idea how to shop for a home inspector.
Well, we're going to get you in a house real soon, and then we'll go from there. And I know how to hire a good one.
I don't think he's ever going to move from the condo. I think he's
I don't
happy.
want to move. I like it.
Until you get that electric vehicle charger put in there.
I was going to say,
Yeah.
with the new car, assuming you knew that, Joey.
No, Joey
leave us.
doesn't have those issues.
I
and
am
stuff.
no longer. I am no longer muted. I apologize. I've been muted for a while, huh?
Yeah,
Yeah, it's
we've
all
been
good.
talking to you. You haven't really responded.
Yeah.
So I
That's
will
true.
tell you
Yeah.
this,
I'm the
Joey,
worst.
talking about Tesla cars again, I got my
Let's go.
adapter. I got my adapter so I could use Tesla chargers now for my pickup truck. And I got to say, it's pretty awesome. And all the Tesla
There's a
people,
different.
they
There's a
shunned
different
me.
type of charger.
Yeah. I
course
don't know
there
what
is.
it's called. I think ours is like J1742 or whatever it is. But we are getting
they're
towards...
actually trying to make a standard through Tesla, but yes, we're getting towards the end. Let's go.
We are getting towards the end, and this is where I usually ask Patrick a very serious question that he has to answer, but I'm not going to do that to him because he is my favorite attorney. But I am going to ask Patrick to give us his contact information, please.
My contact information. Follow me on social media at Loftus_law. That is Instagram. I don't know if you need the at. It doesn't matter. Loftus Law on TikTok.
Sounds good. And I do have to compliment the educational stuff that you put on there. And I'm thrilled that you pulled things from the show here, and then you keep repeating on what that stuff is important. And I learned something, and the more I hear it, the better off it is.
God, imagine there's some people that hear that twice. Oof.
Imagine that. I'm one of them. Joey, can you give us your contact again?
Well, I can. My name is Joey Mathews, the VA Loan Nerd. You can find me at the VALoanNerd.com across all the social medias as at the VA Loan Nerd. If you want to, you could call or text me at 630-235-2405.
Now, what's the website that you're creating that school for? And how far along is that?
Mine?
Yes, Joey, I'm sorry. I was still
Sorry,
talking to you.
No, I did. Yeah, that's all
Jim,
going to be
are
on
you
the
there,
VALoanNerd.com. That'll all be on the VALoanNerd.com. It's just as I add more to the site, there will be new, obviously, options drop downs for what your role is and what you're trying to do in the VA loan space. Are you a buyer? Are you a realtor? Are you a lender? What are you trying to learn? Right.
I hope you put
So
stuff
that'll
in
come
there
with time.
for. Yeah, I hope you put stuff in there for appraisers
Inspectors.
and home inspectors too. Yeah, Steve.
Yes,
can
sir.
you give
I'd
us
like
your
to see
contact?
that, by the way, Joey. When you do get that done, please, if you would send that to me.
It's
I'd
on
love to see that.
the internet.
Was
if
it
you have access
on the
to it.
intranet?
The internet.
Yeah.
Intranet. Okay.
The VALoanNerd.com. There we go. All right, good game.
All right, cool. Steve Davis, Qamar Group, Real Brokerage. My number is 312-513-6314. You could also follow me on social media at I'm Steve Davis. We have lots of fun things we put on there recently, too, so you can learn a lot and be educated and have some comical relief at the same time. So
Just to
please
make
do
some
follow
good
me.
decisions, right? My name is Charlie Bellefontaine, Chicagoland Home Inspectors. Devin Tingle is the producer, and he's the one that makes sure that we stay compliant with all the FAA rules. Thank you for listening. And this is Charlie.